Heidi ho, good neighbors. How are you? I hope you had a great weekend. I hope the beginning of the week started off well. I'm Phil Russert, and this is Creatorcon Q&A. Feels like such a long time since we've had a show, being that I normally do like 15 in a week. But thanks for coming out as always. I appreciate the love and the support. We have a really cool guest tonight, and a guy that I've gotten to know in the industry that is an awesome dude and an awesome talent. So we're going to get into that. Before we do, as usual, I have my shout outs, so bear with me through the shout outs and we'll get to the show. There's a lot of great YouTube and live streams out there right now, so I just want to give you a heads up. If you have other interests besides comics, Epic Tales is awesome for Dungeons and Dragons. We've got Epic Tales from the Sewer, which is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtle Tracks, which is also Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, What's in My Head, which is a mixed bag of everything pop culture. So that's a cool show. And Comic Watchers, it's all comics. So those are some great podcasts and YouTube shows to watch out for. So please go check those out. You also have Comics Cast with Joe Tolliver and Gerald Motos. Android's Amazing Podcast with James and Hunter. The Bit and Apple with Raphael and Leslie. It Came from the Radio with Mark Torres and his crew. And those are some great shows to keep an eye out. Another great show is Art by Kike, Enrique Lopez, every Monday night, 8 p.m. on Instagram. Art by Kike is the page, and the show is Inking with Kike at 8 p.m. He always has a guest on, and he inks live. Good show, and Enrique is never short of talking, so go check that out. The last two shout-outs I want to give for your comic needs, Mad Titan Comics, Mad Titan _comics on Instagram, and Eric Gunderson is the owner-operator on Facebook. And finally, but definitely not last, Andy Lee, the wonderful human being that does my promo graphics, www.lesdudis.com, LESDUDIS. That's Andy Lee. Please check that out. But I did forget one thing. Come check out nsclivetv.com, the comic book network created for geeks by geeks, featuring live sales, comic shops, creators, podcasts, cosplay, news, and interviews. That's nsclive.com. All right. So business is out of the way. Now it's time for pleasure, right? Tonight we have a local artist here in New York. He's a really cool guy. Fantastic. Pencil work and painting is just phenomenal. We're going to show you a lot tonight. But I do want to let you know that tonight, Sean, our guest, Sean Carlson, has been very kind. He is going to draw Daredevil, and then he's going to paint it, and he is going to give it away to the person with the best question. So I hope you guys came to talk, because when you see his art, you're definitely going to want to win this. Because of the holiday spirit, I'm adding on prints. I'm going to throw prints out there. So we're going to have 3 winners tonight. The grand prize is, of course, Sean's art. And the 2 runners-up will get prints from me. Hey, Heather, thanks for coming in. So I'm going to ask everybody, please share this out live right now. Let's give Sean some love. Let's get him a lot of views. Let's get him more exposure. Let's get him commissions. Having said that, my friend Sean Carlson, what's going on?
Hey, man. How's it going?
How are you?
Doing good. No complaints, all things considered, you know?
That's good. How's Brooklyn treating you?
Brooklyn's been all right. Life in general has been good. There were apparently aliens are real, according to the Pentagon and the Israeli government. We're on the verge of a civil war. The economy is crashing, but the McRib is back. And if ever there was a reason to keep going on, I think that's it. So.
Fair enough.
But Brooklyn specifically has it's been all right here.
Fair enough. I love that shirt, by the way. See that, people? That's a man who's working for a living. Look at that.
I made it myself.
Yes, I was going to say. Awesome. Yeah. Heather says, hi, Sean.
How's it going, Heather?
And Chris has just switched to a vegetarian diet. Yeah, sorry, Chris. Your loss.
I don't think it's actual meat anyway, so I think you're good.
I've never had a McRib, so
me neither.
Yeah, I don't know who's gonna blast me for that, but I've never had a McRib. I mean, that's how I work hard to maintain this figure. Pear shape is in, but
that's right.
Now we're gonna add the screen here as well, so you can watch the process. Yes. And again, hello, Kathy Russert. My mother is on. She said hi.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's got to be a relative, right?
Yes, you probably met her at the show. Sean was at my last show. John Ottinger is in the house. How are you, John? So before we get into some questions, I just want to let everybody know if you came in late. Right now, Sean is going to be drawing Daredevil, and then he's going to finish up painting Daredevil. And the winner of Best Question will receive this original art from Sean. He was very kind to do this. Yes, Chris, I will mind my language. Chris is it's referring to the video that you caught a few minutes of. This is going to stay with me for a while, and I deserve it because, I was the fool who put it out there. But anyway, so you can win free art. But again, in the holiday spirit, I'm also going to have two other winners. The second and third best question, they're going to win prints, more than one print. I'm going to do a few. So we want to give. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. Real quick, I put up a post. Anybody who's really hurting financially and doesn't have the money to buy gifts for their family, their children, or even if you're alone and you don't have anybody buying gifts for you, privately DM me if it's something that you're embarrassed or shy about, because I want to give a care package to someone. And I have other people that have been kind and want to generously donate care packages as well. So there's several, we have several people that we can reach out to and give you something for Christmas. It could be anything from baked goods to, cookies and stuff to, maybe toys or comics or posters or whatever. So I hope people don't feel embarrassed or shy. Look, everybody's going through tough times. Please reach out. We'd love to do that for you. Having said that, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I could definitely too. There's more than a couple comic books or, pieces of art. If anyone's interested lying around, I could definitely contribute to that as well.
Oh, that is awesome. Thank you.
No, thank you, man. That's a great thing that you're doing. That's awesome.
Well, I didn't grow up with a lot of money, and I know how it is. And, especially if you're a parent looking at your kids and, they want something and you can't get it, that's heartbreaking, Yeah,
so definitely.
I don't want any parents to feel like they failed their kids because you didn't.
Yeah.
Society fails you. That's not you failing your kids. But anyway.
Especially now with everything going on.
Yeah, a lot of people are hit. I agree.
Yeah.
So now, obviously, we're all living an artist life now, stuck home and except for that drawing.
Welcome to the club.
So you're a young guy, but how long have you been drawing?
Oh, I mean, as far as drawing, as long as I can remember. The earliest memories, and my parents can attest to this, the earliest memories I have of myself drawing or of doing and making art was an old PBS show called Pappy Drew It.
I remember it.
Yeah, it wasn't, it wasn't like on the Sesame Street kind of level, but it's probably the earliest. My mom can attest to this. She would say Pappy Drew It would come on, and for however long it was, a half hour, an hour or so, she had peace in the house. Because I was in front of that, and it was a kid's show. Pappy lived in this fantasy land, and at the end of each episode, he would teach you how to draw, some basic cartoony something, and yeah. So however old I was then, pre-K, that was the first and earliest memory I have of being exposed to art and making it.
Now, are there artists in your family, or are you the first, or are you a long line?
Yeah, so somewhat. I take after a little bit. I take after more on my dad's side. I actually have. I just posted it on Instagram. If you give me 2 seconds, I can run and grab it. So the only other artist we know of in the family is my great grandfather, my dad's grandfather, who he used to do books. He used to do illustrations for the Brooklyn Eagle, which is, probably at this point, no one's ever heard of it. I think it ceased publication in, I don't know, the 60s or 70s or something, a local newspaper. And he used to do pen and ink drawings for them. And I actually just put up a post the other day on my Instagram, just because, it was one of those days where I had nothing else to show. And put that up as a little, retrospective, showing the lineage of kind of where the artistic creativity side comes from.
How long ago was that? Because I got it here. I'm going to pull it up for you.
Oh, do you? Yeah, sure. It was, so if you see a pen and ink drawing of a castle, it was,
yes.
top or second row. It's up there.
Okay. So I got it right here.
That's it. Yep. So that was a funny thing. So if you see it's signed Harold Carlson. I don't know how far back this goes. It could go back to the Middle Ages. It's a family history. It's a family tradition in my on my dad's side that the firstborn son is named Harold, which my mom. Nothing wrong with the name Harold. I don't want to insult any Harolds out there, but it's not the most modern name that exists, and for all I know, that tradition goes back 300 years on the Carlson line, and it ended with me. Mom could be kibosh on that.
Mom's like, no, that ain't happening.
Yeah, Mom was not a fan of the name Harold, and
Harold.
I'm kind of glad she made that choice.
By the way, Chris remembers that show.
Oh yeah, Pappy drew it. Double check me if you do remember it. I believe it was on PBS. I'm like 90% sure, but yeah, Pappy drew it. It was a niche kind of show, but I've always wanted to to do more research. I think you can find the intro or like clips and stuff on YouTube if you look for it.
Probably you can find.
But everything. Yeah.
He's with a huge pencil.
Yes, exactly right. Yeah. So, in typical kids show fashion, it was, all giant cartoon exaggerated stuff. Yeah. Giant pencils and a paintbrush, and they were all characters in this fantasy land that he drew up. But yeah, Pappy drew it back in the day. That's, that's what got me started. Essentially, that was my first teacher. Really, if you think about it.
Mary Ellen is a family member. Channel 13. She said.
Channel 13. Okay. Yeah, that's so your mom's on the stream, you said?
Yeah.
Now my mom's on the stream.
Yeah, don't be shy. Listen, I don't care how old I get. Your mother's still your mother. I appreciate her support.
No, absolutely. So Channel 13, is that PBS?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, good.
Kevin Galati says hello. Good evening, guys. Yeah, your mom's probably agreeing with you. Yeah, that was the half hour that I got peace.
Exactly right. And when she and I
hello, Mrs. Carlson.
Hi, Mom. And I often don't like to say that, when people look at the stuff you do, they say, oh, you were always born able to do this or something. I usually like to dissuade people from that notion, just because I feel like it's not something that's innate. It is a learned skill, and anyone can learn it to a degree, just like you can learn any other skill.
Right.
But there is something that you're kind of born with an attraction to that. So to give you an example.
Well, I think like an inclination. Like me, I'm a musician, I'm a drummer, and had a sense of rhythm growing up. That doesn't mean that I didn't have to work hard to fine tune the craft. So
exactly.
I agree.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Dell's here. I was wondering what's going on. Nobody's asking questions. Does nobody want free art? So this is what we're going to do. I bet you everybody's looking to see, well, is it good art before we decide to start asking questions?
That's a good question. Valid point.
Hey, Joe's on. What's going on, Joe Tolliver? Joe Tolliver of Comics Cast. It's a great show. Sundays at 1 p.m. You can check them out, and they have other things in the works too, so check them out. So I'm going to start showing some artwork while you're doing the preliminary drawing, because it's hard for us to see anyway, and they can see how awesome you are while we discuss.
Thank you.
Now, the first one I'm going to show is really cool, and it's this art style that I feel is attributed to you. I don't see anybody else doing it. What would you have you coined a phrase for this art style?
I thank you again. I get asked that question all the time, and my focus and all of my time and energy is put towards visual things, as far as words and that sort of fancy stuff. That's not where my creativity lies. I haven't coined I would like to coin a fancy term. You hear about pop art and neoliberalism and impressionism and all of this stuff. I haven't coined a fancy term for it. I call it splatter. That's just
I'll tell you what.
That's my own thing.
We're gonna add another contest today besides best question.
I like it.
Sean's got some prints he said he would be willing to give away too. I'll tell you what. the person who comes up with if someone comes up with a name that Sean likes for this style of art that Sean will use,
I like it. Good
you
idea.
will win. You will win the prints that Sean has. Beside, someone will win the original art for best question. Then two other people will win prints from me with best question, and another person with the best tag name for this kind of art that Sean will be able to use will win prints from Sean. But how's that sound?
Perfect. I love it.
All right.
Great idea. I would not have thought of that.
Yeah, I like giving away a lot of free art.
Yeah, definitely. No, and that's a good idea too. So, yeah, like I said, it's a style I've been working in for, I don't know, years, probably about a decade. And
what made you think of this style, and how do you go about doing it without it looking like a total mess?
Well, yeah, that's a good point, because that's kind of half the trick. Is I generally in art I refer to it as the third bowl. You think of the Three Little Bears, not too cold, not too hot, just right.
Ah, okay.
There's that sort of concept that you hit on. That's exactly right. You don't want it too chaotic, because you still want the form, you want the figure. It's got to look like Superman, obviously. But you also want a bit of that chaos too, that splatter going everywhere, and that's kind of what draws your eye, that level of chaos. But believe it or not, it actually started from a GIF. I don't know. Is there where do you fall on it? GIF or GIF?
I say GIF.
Okay, it started.
GIF is peanut butter for me.
Exactly right. I agree. So it started from a GIF of, back in the day, back in the, I guess it would be the 20s and 30s, when they would set up those fake towns in the middle of like the Nevada desert and test the atomic bomb on.
Yeah.
So there was a GIF of, it was one of those made up houses just being blown away by the shockwave. If you look it up online, it's very common. You could find it pretty easily. And I just, I didn't think anything of it. I just thought it was a cool image and saved it onto my computer. When you save it as a GIF, you can go in and see like sort of the frame by frame. And I just love, there was one frame where that first shockwave hits it and you see all the very loose dust and debris.
I know what you're talking about.
But the house is still standing. And I try to do that with paint. That's the
yeah, no one else is doing this. Anytime I see, I know it's you. I know it's you.
Man. Yeah, that's the idea. Is try to there's these characters and all of this stuff has been around for so long. The way to stand out is to do something that hasn't been done. That's the goal, at least.
Now, are these also prints for sale, by the way, or?
Yes, many of them are. All of my prints. I got an Etsy shop and a full website with everything I have as prints. Is currently up right now. The one you have right now, some of the newer ones I haven't gotten prints of yet, but I'm working on it. The Biggie Smalls that you have pulled up right now, I don't believe I currently have prints at the moment. But
is that something that if somebody wanted, though, you could get prints made up, or is this no longer in circulation?
Oh no, yeah, they're I'm definitely, like I said, I just because they're the newest ones, I haven't gotten around to it just yet.
Gotcha.
But no, everything, most of them. I'd say 90% of them there's prints of, and the latest 10% just because they're the newest ones, and everything is thrown into chaos with COVID and all of that. I just haven't gotten the print order in on them yet.
Well, I'm going to remind everybody, scrolling below is the link tree, which will send you to everything, his Etsy shop, his website, and other places. So just click on, you know what I'll even do? I think I put it in the chat.
Okay,
no,
great. Thanks.
That's the wrong one. Yeah. I have to copy it and put it in there. Anyway.
Yeah, no problem.
So you guys can go there if you want to buy some prints. You're open for commissions, by the way?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm pretty booked up with work through. I had to just tell somebody, I got an email the other day looking for something, last minute right for the holiday, and can't do it. I'm booked up through the holiday.
So do you have a commission list if people are understanding that it's going to be a couple of months before they get it, or
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
so if anybody wants art, just know it'll be a little while, but you can reach out to Sean. Sean is easier to reach on Instagram than Facebook. I'm just going to tell you from experience right now.
That's correct. That is
Dell's throwing
true.
out a few names, by the way. So he wrote interstellar pop, blended surrealism, millennial splatter, inceptive
Millennial
art.
splatter.
He said it reminds him of
Interstellar
Inception.
pop is interesting.
Hey, he had some cool ones.
Eh,
Chris had said it's like melting, but the essence remains. It's so dope.
thank you very much,
Artistic,
Chris.
artistic pixelation. And Keith wanted to know, did you like the Daredevil Shadowland miniseries? Did you ever read that?
I've heard of it. I don't think I've read it.
He basically, I believe I think if I'm wrong, Keith, tell me. I think he goes bad and he starts leading the Hand, and they go to take over Manhattan. He had a cool outfit that was like a black Daredevil suit.
Yeah, I was going to say it was a black. Maybe just because of the name Shadowland, but when you say something like that, the first thing that comes up is is his black costume, which I just visually know of.
By the way, this one is really sweet. Look at that Venom.
Thank you.
That is awesome. So listen, I hope this questions start coming because you know what? I'll be glad to take the Daredevil off his hand if you guys don't want to win it. You know, I mean, really, if you can't give something away free these days, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, really. Speaking of, just a quick thought. Speaking of the Daredevil Shadowland suit, I was watching. Wow, I can't remember what YouTube channel I was watching, but you know that '90s armor that he had, that Daredevil.
Yes,
you know,
that red and gray.
Yeah, with the metal side
Yeah.
to it. Dude, it was very 90s. It was very of the time, but I think that would be they could do a very cool live action version of that for, either the movies or the cartoon for the TV shows. I mean, I think that would be a pretty sick look for him.
The armor kind of makes sense though if you're going to be getting hit and stuff, right? But
yeah, exactly right. It's a little bit more realistic and practical as compared to spandex.
I love the Daredevil show because the fight scenes. I mean, think about it. He doesn't just punch you and you're out cold. I mean, he kept fighting. That hallway scene in the first season, I think it's like episode 4.
Yep.
To me, is if not the best fight scene, or like street fight scene I've ever seen. It was just so real. He was exhausted.
Yeah.
And they weren't staying down. They kept getting up. It was just and just the tight shot that they did. It was awesome.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the recent Instagram campaign of trying to save Daredevil. There was some legal something with the rights going back to Marvel, but because it's Netflix and now everything's on Disney Plus, they're thinking of rebooting it, but the fans don't want that to happen. It's a whole thing.
My understanding was I don't know if I heard wrong. They said they were going to keep the cast and they were going to try to move it to either FX or Hulu and continue.
Oh, really?
But they didn't guarantee all shows. They said that they were doing Daredevil and they might do Luke Cage, I think, but I don't know about the others. Okay. Unless news has changed. I don't know. If anybody knows, feel free to let us know.
Yeah, that I haven't heard, but could be right. I don't know.
Dell wanted to know, what is your favorite character with the best backstory or best character to draw?
Favorite character, and you and I bond over this, is Nightcrawler.
I didn't know he was your favorite.
Oh yeah.
Oh hell yeah! No wonder why he did such a good job on mine.
Yeah, absolute number one. He's
smart man.
Thank you. When you're a kid, so my first exposure to X-Men in general was the '90s cartoon. And when you're a kid and you're either watching the cartoons or reading the books, it's all the superficial stuff that hits you at first. Right. Just the cool design. He's blue. He's got a tail. The big purple cloud where he teleports.
Yeah, aesthetically, he's awesome looking, right?
Exactly. Brilliant design. Len Wein and or no, not Len Wein.
No, it was Cockrum.
Dave Cockrum, correct.
He was supposed to be a DC character. He was supposed to be part of the Outsiders.
That's right.
And so was Storm, but she had a black afro, and she was like triplicate girl. She could turn into 3 of herself.
That I knew he knew he originally had the character. I don't think he wasn't called Nightcrawler, right? Wasn't it something different?
He was, but he wasn't the swashbuckling charismatic guy. He was a pissed off demon. He was an angry, bitter guy. He was a demon that was cast out of hell.
Right.
So he kind of had an attitude. He was like a Wolverine attitude. And
Right. Okay.
DC didn't like it because it was too serious for them at the time because they were very kid friendly.
Yeah.
And Cockrum then pitched it to Marvel, and they were like, you know what, we love the character, but let's just change the personality because it would clash with. They already had Thunderbird and they already had Wolverine.
Right. And that I remember. I didn't know that about Storm though.
Yeah. Yeah, look it up. Cockrum's the outsiders. You'll see it's the same black costume that Storm had originally, but she has a black afro and she can triplicate herself. And she had a different name, but the costume was the same aesthetics.
So multiple man essentially.
More like triplicate girl from Legion of Superheroes because she can only do 3 of herself.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right.
Now, what I love about your art, like you did a Nightcrawler for me, but he's upside down, flipping.
Yeah.
But you also had it because he's religious. You had, and I'm a man of faith. You had his arms out like a cool acrobatic flip. But if you wanted to, you could also see that double message that of the religious aspect, and it's just a gorgeous piece. I'm an idiot. I always forget to take them out of the frame off the wall and show everybody live. I'll have to repost it again after this.
That's all right. Don't worry about it.
I love it. I got it from you, what, 2 years ago?
Let's see. Well, I think more than 2. Well, I mean, this I'm working backwards. This year is a wash. It hasn't been anything. So it was either last year. It was
at the Hudson Valley Con.
Yes, it was definitely. I remember it was at Hudson Valley. It was either last year or I think maybe the year before.
I think it was 2018. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so when you're young and you're first looking at all these characters and stuff, it's again great design. It's a superficial stuff that hits you at first, but then as you grow up, you start to you think more deeply about all of this. Right. And essentially, he's my favorite because he's perfectly what the X-Men exemplify. The fact that it's not the accident of your birth or your circumstances that make you who you are. It's the person that you are and what you choose to do with that. He was born of 2 villains, Mystique and Azazel. Right. Yet he's a hero. He looks like literally as he was designed, a demon from hell. Yet he's a man of faith, and it's not it's not the circumstances of what you are, and it's not the surface of how you look. It's deeper than that. Which, like I said, if you think about it, that's the entire point of the X-Men.
And he was so charming that he was getting ladies all the time.
That's another thing too. That
tail, right?
Yeah. That does.
Well, maybe the tail was part of the appeal. Who knows?
Yeah, right. That and the blue fur. The girls in the comics always love that.
That's the other thing people don't know is the character's supposed to have a light blue indigo fur across his whole body too.
Yeah,
that's why the beard thing just didn't make sense to me personally.
Yeah, I get that, but at the same time, it looked pretty cool.
Yeah, I just couldn't get into it. I don't like him with long hair either. I don't know. It's just me.
It looks cool, but when you think about it, it's like, he should kind of, but at the same time, they stopped really drawing him with fur kind of a while ago.
Yeah, well, they also stopped half of his abilities. He can't even fight these days. I mean, the character's an excellent skilled fighter, acrobat.
I know. Yeah,
he's an Olympic level acrobat. I'm geeking over here, but anyway.
Yeah, that's what the show's for. No, they it sucks when they have kind of sidelined him and his abilities in some of the later stuff, but
well, it depends on who's writing him too. Like for me, Excalibur is amazing. When it was Claremont and Davis and them, it was just because they treated him so well.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, that was, and I still every once in a while, I wish they stuck with it. His solo series, where
with the Todd Nauck drawing for Claremont, it was great.
Yeah, when he had the soul sword that he could draw out of his chest. Remember that?
Fun. Oh.
I love. Imagine it's like it's the next best thing from Wolverine, where you have like blades pop out of your claws. Just the ease of access of you just whip a sword out of a magical portal.
I actually thought that's how they were going to bring him back from the dead too, is because he had the soul sword. But they didn't. They totally disregarded that. You don't even know what happened to it. They just keep changing writers. And
I know.
By the way, John Ottinger said Event Horizon as a type for the art.
Oh, I thought we were still talking about it. I'm like, I don't remember that Nightcrawler story.
Yeah. And we have a few questions here. I mean,
that's good. I like the scientific aspect of it.
We can't just let Dell take this away by default. You people got to challenge Dell. Come on, come up with some questions. Chris is coming out, but Dell said, so what is your, oh, we did that. Okay. Sorry. There we go. Do you have a comic story that you follow?
I'm sorry to say, but as we kind of hinted at a little bit earlier on, a lot of the creative decisions that the big two are kind of making right now are not my favorite. So I've thankfully that's, it's been a great resurgence of the indies. I'm enjoying a lot of the indie stuff. I'm probably going to mispronounce his last name, but Jeremy Opeña, 7 to Eternity.
Oh, hell yeah.
Awesome. Awesome art. The storyline I like a lot, but being an artist, I'm primarily there for the art. Awesome.
I agree.
And honestly, what I'm reading, I'm going to contradict myself, but a lot of what I'm reading is sort of just random stuff. One of the benefits of Brooklyn is the local library system, which is just people leaving stuff out on their front stoop and you walk by and pick it up. So I'm just a lot of random stuff that I find. What am I reading now? The new, not new, but the Thor
Donny Cates Thor with everything going on with Galactus and everything.
No, the one from I think it was like
the God Butcher.
The God Butcher.
Okay, that was good.
Now it's pretty good. Yeah.
Well, in Thor: Love and Thunder, Christian Bale is supposed to play him. So
yeah, I just found that out the other day, which is cool because I'm in the middle of the book. I hope he goes full method and as Christian Bale does, just transforms himself. It's a good role. It's a cool character.
Meanwhile, look at his likeness art. I mean, that is the best Hulk I've ever seen. Nice.
Thanks.
I like your use of color. The way you do it mixed with the black and white. I mean, really talented. Guys, just imagine the Daredevil you're going to get whoever the winner is. Dell wanted to ask. Oh, wait, sorry. All right, we'll do Dell and then we'll go to Chris. Have you ever met someone who has inspired you to go into art? Like, who was your inspiration for art?
I mean, to
Pappy.
But yeah, exactly. Pappy. Pappy was, I think, based on my memory of how old Pappy was back in the day. I'm not sure if, not to get too grim, but I'm not sure if Pappy is still around. But that would.
Pappy's dead.
Yeah, I know, right? But you know what? You know what the craziest thing is? Hold on, I got his book right
Pappy's
here.
watching this going, I'm alive, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, right. Pappy, share a, submit a question if you got one.
Yeah, really.
So I've been very lucky. I've been to a lot of conventions. I met a lot of great people. I met, shook Stan Lee's hand a couple times.
Nice.
Met Alex Ross, Neil Adams, a whole bunch of people. The most nervous I've ever been meeting someone, Christopher Hart. This book, How to Draw Comic Book Heroes and Villains, when I was in like elementary school going into middle school, this was my Bible. I carried this and my sketchbook around everywhere. Online at New York Comic Con to get him to sign this, my hands were shaking.
Really?
It was the most nervous I've more nervous than meeting Stan Lee or Alex or anything, just because he that name Christopher Hart was sort of the earliest. He does mostly cartoon stuff now. He does a whole bunch of how to draw books, but it was sort of my first memory of like knowing an artist's name, like the first like, oh, this guy, he does this for a job, for his living, and hopefully one day if you work this hard, you could do it too.
Cool.
So yeah, and very nice guy. I showed him my he was a great guy. I showed him my portfolio at the time. This was a couple of years ago. I was on the other side of the table back then, showing my portfolio around, and we talked for a while. He had a couple people in line, so he excused me, but he's like, come back, I'm done in like 2 hours or so. I came back after his signing was done. We talked for a while. He reviewed my stuff and just chit-chatted and hung out. It was awesome.
By the way, Do you still have the original of what I'm about to put up? Because I love this piece, and I'm not even a big fan of this character. That is killer.
How dare you say you're not a big fan of the Silver Surfer?
Yeah, my best friend is a huge cosmic fan. I never really got into the cosmic characters a lot. I mean, I liked them,
Yeah.
but this is just an incredible piece. Look at that.
Thank you. Thank
Look
you.
at the detail on the space.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I think I do. That one I believe I still do. Yeah, it should be up for sale on my website, I believe.
Cool. All right.
You're a good trivia guy. Correct me if I'm wrong. He was supposed to be the original cover for Pink Floyd. Yes. The Dark Side of the Moon.
Yes, you're right. Actually, he was. Yes, he was.
Yeah, I think I don't know what image. I don't know if they even did a mock-up or anything, but I believe he was. My dad's a big Pink Floyd fan. I believe he was supposed to be the original cover for Dark Side of the Moon.
I read that somewhere, and then of course Satriani wound up using him in the '80s.
Yeah, that's true too.
With the alien.
Yeah.
Yeah, but look at that piece. I mean, just the detail. See, for me, it's not what you put in; it's where you didn't put. We lost your camera for your art, just so you know.
Oh, didn't you? Let's see. Oh, that might
have
just
it's what you do with the negative space that always that artists amaze me with. You know what I mean?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that to me is it's like seeing, I don't know, seeing this piece and knowing where not to put anything, yet it looks like something was put there. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I'm just would like to access. Yes,
no problem.
Just restarting. Yeah, didn't go to sleep. Am I back?
No. Did you hit the internet? There you go. You're coming back.
Okay. Yeah, I think it might have.
Yeah, you're back.
All right. Sorry about that. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I might have just.
And you're black.
Yep. There we go.
There you go. So these pieces are incredible. I mean, look at that. Part of me wants to leave it up to see, but we'd rather you see a splatter shirt. So Chris was asking, what's your nerd origin story? Where did all of this start? I mean, let's I guess to tweak what Chris is saying, as we know it started with Pappy there, but
yeah.
After Pappy, you're older. Did you get any formal education? How did you apply yourself to where you can live as an artist and get away from that grueling 9-to-5 that seems to get in everybody's way?
Well, the main thing. Let's see. Sorry, I'm dealing with some issues. Front camera, back camera. I just want to get the camera thing situated.
Sure. In the meantime, I'll show some more of your art.
All right, that should be it. All right, sorry about that. Can you repeat the question one more time? How did I get started?
Well, to expound on what Chris was asking, because you had mentioned you start with your love for Pappy and everything.
Yeah.
Where did you go? Did you get formal education? How did you start? And what was this? I mean, it must have been a really scary jump. But what started you to say, you know what, I'm going to be an artist for a living. I'm not going to do this 9-to-5 that just seems to get in the way.
It was so as far as education, Plain Edge Public High School, Long Island. I didn't go to art school, but I was very lucky. I graduated from Hofstra University with a degree in art education, which as you can tell from the degree choice, that was sort of the traditional standard route that I was going to take as far as, be an art teacher. It's a stable, traditional job, do art on the side when I can. And, that was going to be the plan. I could tell you where I was. I can't tell you when it was. It was probably around 3rd, 4th year of college, where I just, I was just thinking about this, thinking about being an artist, how much I loved it, also how much sacrifice it would take, where and eventually just came to a point where there's not going to be a second chance. There's not going to be there's not going to be a backup. You get one chance. And I just knew that if I did anything else with my life, I would regret it. So around 3rd, 4th year of college, got a little bit of work. I was doing, I did a couple murals at the local safety swim where I worked as a swim teacher part-time. That was kind of my day job. And was doing, I did a couple murals for, like, I did one for a mommy and me, kid stuff. They like the big bright colors and big cartoon.
I'm showing your latest mural now.
Oh, and that's the newest one. That one's a little more recent.
Look at that. But that's crazy. That whole wall.
Thank you. Yeah, started getting work out of college and put my foot down and kept going. I gotta say, I'm in a lot of respects, I'm very lucky. My parents supported me a lot. I lived at home till I was 27, 28 years old. They never charged me a dime in rent. They were very supportive. So I had a good base to stand on top of that. I'm very lucky and grateful for that. Not everyone gets.
This is one of my favorite pieces from you, by the way. My wife and my children love it. I mean, look at the background on that. It's incredible with the sharks and all the sea life. It's just a beautiful, beautiful piece. You really feel you're underwater. You even have the movement in the vegetation. There's energy in the piece, which is not easy to capture. It's two-dimensional, and it's not even sequential work. And you've got movement in that piece, which I think is phenomenal.
Thanks, man. It's funny. I just happened to be talking about my. Like I said, I did a bunch of murals for Safety Swim, where I was a teacher part-time, and all of their murals were underwater aquatic life because it's a swim school. So all of that came in handy when doing that piece. I had a good amount of practice with underwater seascapes before doing that, and you never know what you end up building on.
Dude, I got to get you to do a mural of like Colossus and Juggernaut tearing up the city or something. That would be awesome on a wall.
That would be sick.
How cool would that be? This was a book that you did the cover for?
Yeah, so in freelancing, you wear a bunch of different hats and play a bunch of different roles. And yeah, I do a lot of. I've been working, for the past. It's been a while. Me and this author, Jeremy Flagg, he's based out of Boston. Awesome guy. I love working for him. We've done. Give me a second here. 6, 7, 8, 9. I think I might be off in the count a little bit. But I'm currently just about to finish up my 9th or 10th book cover with him.
Awesome.
He's got. So we did this whole first series, which I read and I got really into of his. He's got this whole universe. He's you and him would get along as well. Big X-Men fan. Me and him actually met at Boston Comic-Con a couple of years ago. Big X-Men fan, big comic book nerd. Just like everyone. And he's a great author. He has this whole series of books called The Children of Nostradamus, which is, in the vein of X-Men. It's these kids who are, born with certain powers, but a little more like further down the line, sort of dystopian, like the government's on top of everything and they regulate and, it's very interesting. So we've been doing a whole series of covers for he's got a whole universe. Like I said, we're up to like 9, 10 books and he's still got more coming.
Wow.
So yeah, that latest one was that was the first of the new trilogy, the third of which I don't know if I could show it yet, but it's almost done. It'll be up on my Instagram.
Yeah, don't get in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to get. I don't know if it's okay to share just yet, but it's one of my best yet. If not to toot my own horn, but I'm very happy with it so far.
John Ottinger, who's an awesome person and also a creator and artist, he said, "What medium are you painting in?"
So primarily water-based. I in college was taught with the traditional stuff, oils. But as any artist who works on deadlines will tell you, it's not, this might get a little technical, but it's not a feasible medium to work on when you have deadlines. It takes forever to dry. And again, you can't, the deadlines you work on, you can't have a painting finished, a week before
Right.
it's due, just so it can dry. Acrylic and watercolor is the basic answer. Specifically gouache.
Gouache, yes. I actually represent someone from Australia who does gouache a lot. It comes out beautifully though.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks fantastic.
Yeah, gouache is great because it has a bit of white in it, which you'd think would make it lighter. However, because of the paint chemistry, I don't ask me why. Titanium white is actually very opaque, meaning you can't see through it. So it's got a lot more sort of boldness and saturation and opacity when you use it. So it just feels more solid. It's a great medium. I love
Sounds
it.
like a smart artist. Look at that.
Yeah,
That's the ticket.
One of my professors was also a amateur paint chemist in college.
Oh, really?
So I actually know a little bit more of the technical side than maybe
I'm a painter. Yeah,
other
that's
people.
it. That's the ticket. Yeah.
Who was that?
That's from Saturday Night Live, John Lovitz. It's a bad impression, but
Oh, okay.
look at that flash. That is awesome.
Thank you.
Look at that. What I like is that your different styles besides your whatever that style is that we haven't come up with a name with yet. Just your straight up paintings, and then we saw some pencil illustrations that you inked. I mean, you have a nice range between pencil sketch art and your paintings. So I think that versatility is probably why one of the reasons you steadily continue to get work.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, that's that's the Bruce
That
Lee
and you're not
philosophy of be water.
Della wants to know, what's a story that you would want to work on? Like, if you could work for one of the big publishers, what book would you want to be on?
A cover and the full interiors. All I need is one issue, and I could die happy of Uncanny X-Men.
Nice.
That.
Who would be your team?
Oh, good question. Nightcrawler, obviously. It would definitely be the Trinity, the sort of like unofficial Trinity of Nightcrawler, Colossus, and Wolverine.
All right, Sean, this is why we get along.
Yeah. Even the
Ed and Cyclops, Phoenix in the great outfit, Kitty Pryde. We're talking. And Banshee.
And a character I love who's very underrated, possibly because, like, from a storytelling point of view, he's hard to write for, but Forge.
I like Forge. I think he's very underrated. And we lost your camera again on the drawing.
I don't know why that keeps happening.
By the way, Randy just made me want to visit his house and rob him.
Who's Randy?
Randy is a guy I met recently. He has a Nightcrawler sketch by Cockrum he got in the late 70s. Randy, don't ever show it to me because I promise you I'm going to lose all integrity.
I'm kidding. Nightcrawler sketch from Cockrum. Wow.
That is amazing. Oh, my God. I'm jealous.
Awesome. Yeah, that's pretty
And you know what? Back then, he probably got it for cheap, too. And by the way,
back in the 70s,
he said your Doctor Strange is amazing. Now he wants one.
Thank you, Randy.
Randy is an art collector. He was at that show last Saturday.
Oh, cool.
He got a lot of compliments, how gorgeous it was. And
Thank you.
Chris, to clarify, said, what were the first nerdy things you got into?
Yeah, I guess it would be the 90s X-Men cartoon was kind of my first exposure to, all of this. That's kind of the earliest memory. I mean, also probably a lot of it from my dad. Dad's a big, not so much comic books, but traditional, Lord of the Rings, like traditional fantasy and like the Universal monsters, Frankenstein. And, I remember, I remember all of the Frankenstein, Edgar Allan Poe, sort of stories and books that he would give me. There was a series of books, great, illustrated classics that were kind of like kids' versions of the great classics. Edgar Allan Poe, The Mummy, all that sort of stuff.
Very cool.
So yeah, so now I've for any Edgar Allan Poe fans, I've now grown up and I'm living in the cast of Amontillado. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. Amontillado. It's where the guy was buried alive,
Oh, really?
As my backdrop indicates.
By the way, your camera's back, but it's facing the ceiling, so I haven't popped it
Yes,
up.
thank you. I got to adjust that. I don't know.
And look at that Mandalorian he did. Oh, my God. By the way, Randy, and I agree with you 1,000%, Randy. Randy and I are art collectors, so we know what prices go for. I'm an art rep too, so I hope I know the prices. But anyway, so we know what is a deal and what's not. And, new collectors don't understand what is a low price for something, because they don't understand what you're putting into it.
Yeah.
So Randy even says he went and checked your website, and your prices for original art are ridiculously low for the quality of work, and I will agree. So
thank you.
now I'm not gonna lie. Sean is a very likable person. I like Sean. We don't hang out per se, but I consider him a friend in the industry.
Thank you, man. Same here.
But regardless of that, as if you don't have eyes, he's really talented and very affordable. And I mean, again, if you wanted a sketch cover or sketch art, or you could, he could do a painting for you, even a canvas painting, right? You do canvas, don't you?
Oh yeah, all of the again, splatter. What have we millennial cosmic something?
We'll look back on it because we gotta see who wins.
Yeah, whatever the latest name is, all of that stuff, yeah, is acrylic on canvas.
And Low Nolan wants to know if the flash was done with the gouache.
Yes. Okay. So good question. Let me specify. All of this stuff. Let's see. They're of a certain size. The Superman, the Biggie, all of those are acrylic on canvas. The flash, where you can kind of tell by looking at it, it's sort of that more smoky kind of watercolor effect. Yes, that is done in gouache.
By the way, as if you didn't know he was coming, Veer is here.
Hey, Viraj.
He said, let's talk about bourbon and drink and draw. Now, I've known Sean for a little while, a few years. And I met Veer at Terrificon last year, 2019.
Yes, when we all went out to the diner.
Yeah, him, Sean, myself, Veer, and Tony Cordos went out to eat, and we had fun. Veer is also a big art collector.
Oh yeah, he's got some impressive stuff.
He's also a great tech guy.
Oh really?
Oh yeah.
Has he been helping you out?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
The computer I'm on right now is all thanks to Veer.
Okay, very cool. I hope he's paid handsomely for his services.
Well, let's just say that he was a great friend.
All right.
So I mean, I reciprocate, but it was a nice barter system.
Yeah. Okay, I gotcha.
Yes, Keith, Sunfire. You're right. We have to add Sunfire. Keith is a big Sunfire fan. Yeah, Chris. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say the internationalness. That's not a word, but the sort of different cultures of the X-Men. That's something on the ideal team. Yeah, it's not just the characters and their abilities, but I always like that you could reach from all over the globe,
right?
And the cool stuff that would come up.
Oh, you know what? It's funny. Veer brought up the Doctor Doom that you did for him, and you also did that really cool dark side face. And I was going to bring them up actually a little later. I wish that you had included that Doctor Doom that you did for Veer because it is so good.
Thank you, man. I know exactly what you're talking about. I was looking for it and I could not find it. I know it's not lost by any means. I know I either got a high quality scan or a good photo of it. I just couldn't find it in my photos. But I know exactly what I spent, 20 minutes looking for it before I finally threw in the towel. I've got, millions of photos on my computer that are somewhat organized.
Veer, if you wouldn't mind that in the dark side, if you wouldn't mind posting it on Facebook and Instagram and tag me and tag Sean so everybody could see it, that'd be awesome.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Thank you, man. Yeah, that was like I said, he's got a very impressive collection, and I was honored to add to it. He's got a lot of stuff, and yeah, if I again not to toot my own horn, but that the Dr. Doom piece I did for him was very good. I wanted to include it, I just couldn't find it on my hard drive.
Damn you!
Sorry. It was from an old phone that I had backed up to the cloud, and I just when Apple organizes stuff, it doesn't make sense to me. I got to do it all my own.
By the way, your likeness art is really great too. Look at that. I mean,
oh, thanks, man. Thanks.
Yeah, that excellent.
Was, thank you. That was at that was my first year at New York Comic Con a couple years ago.
But by the way, Randy is really pouring in the salt. Although I appreciate he's going to show me the Nightcrawler. He paid $10 for it at the time, for the Cockrum Nightcrawler. Randy is just pouring the salt in. Pour it in, Randy.
Holy shit.
Good for you, man. I'm happy for you.
Yeah, you know what? You can't be. You got to.
No, good for him. Well, you know what?
Exactly.
Yeah. Good for you.
Imagine owning that. Like, I paid $10 for a Dave Cockrum Nightcrawler original. God, that was one guy that was very, very sad. I never got to meet him.
Me too. And everybody said he was the sweetest guy.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard he was a great guy.
I've never heard a bad word about him.
I exact same thing. Yeah, I always heard about how great he was, and it's unfortunately never got to shake his hand, but definitely one of the most influential, characters in comic books for me.
I think I can get this dark side up. Vera, you only sent me the dark side. Can you send me the Doom?
I can give me a second. I can try and look for it too.
No, because if Vera has it, I can just put it up now.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, imagine getting a Cockrum for that. That's just insane.
Yeah,
Oops.
but
all right.
But back in the 70s, that was before all the fanfare and everything that is now. I'm saying back in the 70s, like I was there. But back then, that's you probably got a lot of great deals because the artists, they weren't the celebrities that they are now. Not saying they should have been, but for fans, it was a good time. You can probably get a lot of great stuff.
I don't know how big this is. Okay, so I got it. I got his the dark side. I liked this. Let me zoom it in.
Oh yeah, okay. So yes, that one was sort of he actually came up with that idea. I
like that. It's different.
Yeah, it was so that was a take off of I did I think after the first It movie, the new one. I did a sort of very minimalist, just sort of his eyes with that sort of whatever it is.
The energy cascading, yeah.
Yeah, the tattoo that, sort of that comes from the corner of his mouth up to his eyes.
Oh, yeah.
And it was sort of a minimalist thing like that. And Viraj actually, he was just flipping through my book. We were hanging out at a convention. And he looked at it and he's like, this would be a cool dark side one if you could do, the Omega beams sort of, crackling his skin. So I did the art piece, but the idea credit goes to Viraj.
Yeah, Vera, I only got that one. I didn't get the Doom. It didn't show up in the Facebook Messenger. Randy, you're killing me. He got a John Byrne Vision he got for $5 back in the day. Randy, don't ever invite me over because I think I'm gonna have to rob you.
Is that what this is going to be?
Randy, can I show it live?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Let me know if I'm allowed to share it, Randy.
Is this just going to become, make the guests, feel jealous show?
Yeah, really. Randy's a really cool guy. He's actually the first person I appreciate that wanted to jump in and help to donate a care package to someone.
Oh, nice.
So
awesome.
Randy is a good human being, and again, I don't know him long, but he's a good human being, and he's an art collector, and thank you. He said I can share it, so I'm gonna pull that up.
And he put that Burn sketch in the package. You're saying?
He's showing me the Cockrum Nightcrawler, so I'll do that.
How many of when you're putting together those care packages? How many of what if his collection is going to find its way in there?
Well, then I'm gonna say that I'm needy.
Yeah,
I need art. Yeah, I want to get you on one of my jam pieces. We keep talking about it, but then COVID hit and it just didn't happen.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's all of the. I hate to think of all the all the art and all the opportunities and everything that. Oh wow,
And it's personalized. That's beautiful.
that's awesome.
Oh hell yeah.
I miss when back in the day when they would just do the 2-dimensional flat black.
Yeah.
I miss a little bit of that in the.
Well, it's funny because I did a Nightcrawler jam, and Alan Davis, it's Nightcrawler hopping all over the Danger Room, and I had
Yeah, I think I saw it.
Nightcrawler artists that drew him in the comics
Yeah.
do it. Well, I had Alan Davis draw him, and Alan Davis was like, "I don't like this pose." He erased the whole thing, did his own thing. I was like, "Go for it."
Yeah.
And Mark Farmer was there, and Mark Farmer at Terrificon, he inked it, and he did the flat black, and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Thanks, Randy, for letting us show this.
That's awesome, man. Thanks. Good for you. I hope that's displayed proudly. There's something about that, and Havoc I always thought was such an interesting design with the 2-dimensional flat black. Had such a it stood out so much.
I love Havoc too. Great character.
It was like it worked especially well for Havoc because he had the chest piece and the rest of him was just like a void.
Right.
It worked well for the character.
A lot of people hated that crown, but I liked it. It was different. It was cool. The ruby, like the grandma's little
with
brooch.
the 3 sort of bands.
Grandma's little brooch.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a little, it was a little goofy, but
I liked it.
Things work in a drawing that don't work in real life.
Well, you know what it is? Exactly. But you know what it is comics to me were the best when they weren't trying to emulate reality so much.
Okay.
Like, to a degree is fine. Like, I loved, obviously Peter Parker was relatable because of the realistic struggles he went through.
Yeah.
But when they're emulating real life so much when it comes to politics, when it comes to social stuff, when it comes to the bitterness and the anger and like the darkness and murder and death and rape and sex and I could do it all out without all that. I liked just spandex fun.
Yeah.
And I understand comics aren't just made for me, so I'm not trying to gripe, but just speaking from my personal tastes, that's why things like that crown, as ridiculous as it is and would never go well in real life, like you said, were fun for me. Spandex, like taking Wolverine out of his mask. I don't need to see his hairy face.
Yeah,
keep it a mask.
Yeah, there's always certain core things about the character that you gotta stay true to. But at the same, when it comes to because I felt a lot of the same way with and to a degree it did sort of turn me off to a lot of the modern stuff that that Marvel was doing. But then at the same time, when you go back and look at it, the first issue of Captain America, he's punching Hitler. The X-Men were Professor X and Magneto were an allegory for Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. So there has always, it's a question of to what degree.
See, the point is like the stories always, emulated the social climate of the time, which is fine. I'm not talking about emulating a social climate. I'm talking about putting in their social and political opinion.
Yeah.
You were left open to decide who you thought was right or wrong with Xavier Magneto when he was written well. I mean, Magneto is one of the reasons why he's one of the greatest villains, just like Doctor Doom is. They think they're doing it for a right reason. They weren't cut and dry. Just I'm a bad guy. I want to beat the world. 2-dimensional. Yeah. Doom is arrogant. He thinks that, look, you need me to rule you so I can create peace and I can make everything right. So, you know what I mean? It wasn't just cut and dry. I'm going to tell you that you have to think this guy's a bad guy because of me as the writer. I say so.
Yeah. I get that.
I mean, again, that's just me personally.
No, and I totally get it. Yeah, it's always a question of degree. No one says like, particularly when it comes to Marvel Comics, because they're not to start a fight. They're my personal favorite of the big two.
How dare you?
Yeah, I know, right? And Marvel in particular, they've always been the more grounded, realistic. The characters all take place in New York as opposed to, wherever, Central City or, made up places. It's always a question of degree. Sure. People go to it because there are those real life stories, Spider-Man being the prime example. But at the same time, you don't want to be lectured at when you're reading a comic, you don't want to necessarily be preached to, even when it's something you agree with.
Agreed.
There are plenty of times where, you know, I'm watching a show or I'm reading a book or I'm doing something and they're preaching at me something that I 100% am on board for. But while I'm reading it, there's that little bit of like,
don't tell me I have to think this.
Yeah, exactly.
Just entertain me.
Yeah, exactly. When it's, you know, when it's woven in a, for lack of a better term, sneaky way to where you don't realize that it's there, that I think is done the best way. When it's, again, even if it's something you agree with, when it jumps out and hits you in the face, there's something off-putting about that.
I agree. By the way, Chris had 2 names, the Carlson effect and the Carlson colors.
Carlson effect. That's not it might be you know, it might be the ego in me talking, but I think that's a front runner so far.
Chris also, no offense, Chris, but this sounds like a sickness that you might need a vaccine for. But he said the Carlson drip.
That's a burning sensation you feel.
He's coming up with some good stuff, but that Carlson drip,
the Carlson post nasal drip.
Yeah. Do you mind? It's your show. I don't want it to be rude, but Randy actually put up 3 other pieces. Can I show them the burn original?
I want to see them just as much as you do. Absolutely.
All right, cool.
Yeah, go for it.
I don't want to be rude on your show.
No, believe me. I want to see it too.
This is incredible. And so I just want to reiterate to everyone, Sean had said that he's a little backed up with work right now, but he is going to be available for commissions and probably within 2 months. If you're interested in commissions, you can reach out to him, and just as long as you're understanding, you have to be a little patient. And Sean is not someone that you're going to wait a long time for your commission. If he's telling you got to wait a few months, but then once he's ready to commit to doing the commission, you do not wait a long time. He stays in touch with you. He communicates with you. He's really good like that. And I highly recommend getting a commission. At the same time, you can also buy original art from him off his website. The link is scrolling along the bottom there. It takes you to everything that he's got going on. And there's prints, and then there's, of course, original art that I highly recommend you pick up something. I don't know if you have time before Christmas, but I recommend that you do it. So I'm going to show these. I'm going to show these incredible pieces of art. I'm a big Byrne fan too, and I have to say,
who isn't?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I met him briefly in person at Boston Con last year. He was actually pleasant. I know that it's who is that? That's Perez.
Yeah, I was gonna say that doesn't look like
no, I didn't put up the Byrne yet.
Oh, okay.
That's Perez. So very nice.
That's awesome.
Here's the Byrne. Feel the burn.
That's a great
feel the burn.
I love the pose on that.
Vision's one of my favorites. I really like him a lot. I always felt that Martian Manhunter was an amalgamation of Vision. He was their version of Vision, obviously with some other aspects put in there, but
but very similar roles.
Yeah, it was like if Martian Manhunter and Red Tornado were put together.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
So, and here's another Perez.
That's cool.
The ever-loving thing. Thanks for sharing those with us, Randy. That's really cool.
Awesome. The Vision one I like a lot. The pose is really cool.
Yeah, I just love art history and stuff. So the whole point is Sean is going to be one of these guys someday that you're saying you got it for only $40 or whatever.
Hopefully that's the plan, man. Thank you. That's the plan.
Oh, it'll happen. You're still a young guy. I mean, what are you, in your early 30s?
I am 30 years old.
Oh my God, I got underwear as old as you. I might even be wearing it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's still a lot to look forward to. There was a lot that was hopefully going to make happen this past convention season and whatnot, but it's a shame to think about how much Corona just destroyed everything. How have you been going through convention withdrawal just like the rest of us?
I haven't just gone through convention withdrawal. Remember, I throw a convention. I was
Yeah,
so
yeah,
disappointed I had to cancel the last weeks because I love throwing conventions.
yeah,
I mean, I absolutely. It's like my favorite thing to do is run. It's just to do my convention,
yeah.
and yeah, and then just doing that small show last week, a few days ago. Randy was there. It just, oh my God, I missed it. By the
Yeah.
way, Veer got the Doom up. Look at this. Look at this, Doctor. I'm going to blow it up a bit. I might lose its resolution a bit, but that is just awesome. Look at that.
Thank you. One of the great things about Virage, and this is a great is a great aspect of a good a good client, is leaving things open ended for the artist. So he said something with Doctor Doom, and that was it. So it leaves you to as the artist, it leaves you to get a little creative. I threw in the broken Iron Man head. Or helmet, I should say,
Yeah.
and put a little, tried to inject a little story into it.
See, that's the thing, I agree with Veer on that too. Hey, Mike, how you doing? He joined in.
Hi, Mike.
Thanks for joining us. I do that too. When I do my jams, I let them pick the character unless I really wanted somebody to do a character.
Yeah, sure.
And I give them free reign on things because if you micromanage an artist, you're taking away the whole point of them being an artist. It's the spontaneity, the creativity.
Yeah.
You get your best if you let them go.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
And that Dr. Doom was sweet.
Thank you.
Really sweet. So, I mean, it's incredible the work you do. You're also a really cool guy. I want everybody to know, too, that Sean was supposed to be at that show that I had to cancel last week. But the March 14th show, God willing, it still goes on. Sean will be there.
I'm there. Yep.
Now, Randy has this awesome Defenders jam he's doing, and he wants to get you to do Doctor Strange on it.
Oh, done. Awesome.
So I'm going to tell you, Randy, bring it to the March 14th show. By then, he should be freed up, and he can do it for you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
and
we definitely do that
too. He gets it colored, so you'd be able to ink it and color it, right?
Sure. Do the whole thing.
There you go.
We get get a little wacky with those. I got a Doctor Strange piece in my head right now. He's so great with what you could do with him. Just the colors and the psychedelic sort of stuff. Yeah, he would be great to do. Yeah, I could definitely do that, man. Thanks.
I mean, it's like we're like the comic book Love Boat. We're just getting everybody together. This is beautiful, man.
This is
I'm
awesome,
like Captain Steubing. Look at this. Or Steubin, whatever his name is. He said cool.
Awesome, man. Yeah, sounds good. Hope to see you at the show then. Sounds good.
Now, do you have any plans to do any creator-owned projects or a sketchbook someday or something like that?
There's always ideas rolling around. There's a couple. I want to get a little more, get my foot in the door a little bit more, get more established in the business. But I've always had an idea of doing something. You ever read what was the story? You ever read Tuck Everlasting? Or it was one of those books.
I didn't read it, but I know the story.
That you had to read, yeah. Or actually, you know what? Actually,
I'm a lot older than you. I was reading. They had us read it Macbeth and Hamlet. We weren't reading Tuck Everlasting.
We read. I believe we read Macbeth as well. But you know what it actually came up from?
That was Hamlet with balls, by the way.
It was what?
Macbeth was just Hamlet with balls.
Yes, I can't remember. I'm not a Shakespeare fan.
So you were saying.
So yeah, the actual idea hit me with who was it? The Hulk story, The End.
Yeah.
Who's the writer and artist on that? I can't remember off the top of my head.
I don't remember either.
But
Keith, tell me.
Yeah, I could look it up. But it actually came from that. So I've always wanted to do sort of a far out, just like a graphic novel, a self-contained story of essentially like an immortal person.
Okay.
What happens. We've all seen the stories. It's sort of
that was Peter David. Peter David wrote that.
That sounds right.
That wasn't Keown who drew it though, right? It was somebody else. I don't remember.
So it was supposed to be. Let's see. I'm looking it up. Yeah, right. Ritter, Peter David. Yeah, Keown, penciler.
It was Keown. Okay.
Yep.
I
So
love Keown.
from that, it was such a great story. I loved it. But you know, as an immortal character, as he's kind of supposed to be, what happens after that? What happens when an immortal character meets the end of the earth? If they're immortal, what happens? Do they keep going? Do they drift aimlessly in space until they're
Right.
caught in the gravitational pull of some alien planet, and then they come down and have adventures on there until
Right.
eventually that planet dies, and then it's the side. You know, I've always wanted to. I've just had this kind of idea of like, what happens after? You know, if you're truly
It's not like you can
immortal,
commit suicide.
exactly. You know, if you're truly immortal, what's the next part of the story? So yeah, I always had sort of an idea of something of an immortal character wandering through Earth. Earth gets
Well,
destroyed,
I know
goes
some
through
cool
space.
writers that can collaborate with you and help you get your thoughts down on a script. You know, so you should do it, man. Get your creator-owned project out there. Everybody's crowdfunding right now. They're doing well.
You're absolutely right. You know, now is the time. You know, with Indiegogo and with all the Kickstarter and all of that going on. Yeah, now is definitely the time. You're probably right.
I have a letterer for you too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have plenty. I have everybody.
That's good.
I have a whole creative team.
I once tried to do my own lettering, and it came out as a disaster. That's one job where you really don't value it until you have to do it yourself, and you realize like, oh, there's a real art to this.
Dude,
and
lettering can kill a book.
Yep.
You could have the best panels, the beautiful sequential work, but if those narration boxes or those word bubbles look amateur, 100%. It kills the book.
100%.
They're very underrated.
Yeah, and you don't realize it until you try to do it yourself, and then you see it in all these other books, and you're like, oh, okay, this is how it's done. It's something you take for granted.
Yeah, forgive this shameless plug, please. I'm sorry, but Jason Meadows is the letterer that I rep, and he's very, very, very professional.
Oh yeah,
and affordable. Anyway,
nice.
So Dell wanted to know, what's your holy grail, your favorite piece? Now, I don't know if he means that you bought from someone else or that you drew, so we'll go with what you draw. Randy, thanks for coming out, man. Have a great night. He has to go. He's got to be up at 4 a.m. So.
Oh, geez. Well, thanks for sticking around this long, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, definitely. My favorite piece. This is my answer to this question every time. It's always the next thing. It's
cool.
It's when you have a new idea for something that sparks up, you have it crystal clear in your head, and you're like, oh, this is going to be the greatest piece of art that man ever created. It'll be, take the Mona Lisa and flush it down the toilet. This is going to be the best thing that's ever been made. And then you make it, and it comes out okay. But then somewhere along the line for that, you get the spark for the next idea. And then that's the thing. So, it's always the next idea. That's cool. Always
I like that answer, man. That's the first answer I ever got like that.
Oh, really?
So, what do you collect art yourself? Like, do you buy art from other artists, or you're on the artist budget?
Yeah, I have as I've slowly over the past, this would have been my 4th year on the other side of the table, doing the convention circuit. So as I'm slowly worming my way into the comic book world, I have picked up a few pieces that I enjoy. They're currently hung up. I would show you, however, my apartment is a mess. So I'll have to.
Tell us what's your Grail piece right now.
The Grail piece that's front and center. I'm looking at it now. It's to no surprise, the what do they call them? The Marvel Masterworks, the hardcover collection of the first 10 X-Men.
Yeah.
Signed by Stan.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, that's if this place went up in fire, that's what I'd be. That's what I'd run and grab. It's a beautiful
family members, roommates. You're on your own, but I'm grabbing that.
Well, yeah, exactly. Life is temporary. X-Men is forever. That book will last for a very long time. So it's that's probably, and that, and then I have a few let's see. I have a few pieces. I picked it up for just like $25. A Walt Simonson sketch of no, not oh, now I'm gonna forget his name. Nordic god. My friend Giacomo was watching this and he's embarrassed for me. The Nordic god. It's not Balder. It's not Thor.
Heimdall.
No, it's
Fandral.
from. No, it's not from the comics. It's from like Norse mythology. You know how he's super into the traditional Norse mythology. I'm going to forget his name, but it was a Tyr. That was it. Tyr, who pops up in the comic books occasionally, but you know, Walt is very into the traditional Nordic mythology stuff, which I'm into too. And Tyr is not in the Nordic mythology. He's a pretty main figure in the comic books, not so much. So I picked that up for $25
nice.
at I think the last convention I was at. That was last year.
Was that Garden State Comic Fest?
No, I didn't do Garden State last year.
He was there.
It was. Oh, was he really?
Yeah.
Oh, I should have done it. Shit. No, I didn't do it last year.
I keep emailing him and Wheezy, but they don't respond. They're nice people. I don't know if they get an email. I've messaged them. They don't respond. I've had professional artist friends email them. They don't respond.
Oh, and really?
Walt and Wheezy are going to be on Graham Nolan's live stream. I'm like, damn it!
Yeah. I you know, through networking and meeting people, I've met him once. Very nice guy. Very cool. I know
Wheezy's a doll
who know him. You know, if I'll keep my ear to the ground if I hear of anything, I'll let you know.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. But I got the chance to meet him once. He's a great guy. Very nice.
He is. He's funny because just a little quick story. At Garden State Comic Fest, I invited him to my show, and he was nice about it. He was like, "Yeah, I'm old. I don't want to be going to all these shows, blah blah blah." Right?
Yeah.
So
he's earned that.
So I talked. Yeah, exactly. So I talked to. I don't take that personally, and he was nice about it. So I went to Louise. I went to Wheezy, and I was talking to her. She goes, "You just got to get him at the right time." So I was like, "Well, when's the right time?"
Yeah, really.
She was sweet. She's like, reach out and we'll talk about it. But I was really grateful because Larry Stroman and Scott Hanna came to bat for me. They went up to him and said, "Dude, you have to do this guy's show.
Nice.
He knows he treats the creators great. It's all it's a wonderful show and it's lucrative, and you need to do a show." And the fact that those two legends in the industry went to bat for me, I was humbled and really grateful. Cool. So yeah,
that's cool.
So
Scott Hanna's a great guy.
Yeah, he is, and he's coming March 14th.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he told me once in. And I saw Walt at New York Con, the last one we had, and then there he was like, "Yeah, no problem."
Okay, all right. So yeah, it's the right time. So Good
night, Mike. Thanks. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Did those two guys? Did they succeed? Did they help you out? Did you get an answer?
Well, I mean, at the time he said he would do it, but now I don't have any. I'm not going to invite him to that small one-day con. But like when I do my 2-day Creatorcon, I'll reach out and hopefully be successful. That's what I'm just saying. My 2-day Creatorcon, dude, you have to be there because you're going to be sitting with some crazy, crazy names.
Definitely,
it's going to be unbelievable, that show. But anyway, I'm being really rude as a host and shamelessly plugging my stuff. I'm sorry, I don't usually do that.
That's all right, no problem.
You know what it is when it's someone I know and you get comfortable, you're just like talking over a table, so to speak.
That's what makes for that's, in my opinion, that's what makes for a good video, a good interview.
So besides my show, we'll put the pressure off you. What are some of your favorite conventions that you've done?
Favorite convention. I mean, the first convention I ever went to was the second New York Comic Con. It was the second New York Comic Con, my first convention ever, and that's always held a special place in my heart. That show is awesome. Yeah. First time meeting Stan Lee, shaking his hand, and all of the incredible stuff that through the years I've I know the Javits Center very well. I have a couple stories I could go into if you want, but I know the Javits Center very well, and more than a couple times I've walked through the right back door and gotten in a few places and gotten to meet a few people that I shouldn't have. And that's all happened at New York Comic Con. And it's, a lot of good memories there.
Meanwhile, I briefly knew you before that, but we stopped and we were talking for a while at New York Con, and you didn't take me with you. Damn you.
that year, you know what? It was back when it was in its infancy. The past 2 or 3 years, they have actual security now, and you can't quite all those little loopholes and stuff you were able to.
I know those back doors you're talking about, dude. Yeah, the tunnels. I know.
They all shrunk. Wait, what'd you say?
There's if you go into Artist Alley where it is right now, there's some doors that you'll find.
Yeah.
That lead to the tunnels, like for example, where Hillary Clinton would have been walking out if she had won.
Yeah.
That those tunnels take them out to the main stage up front. So there are hallways, and we call them tunnels because the way they look, but they're hallways.
Yeah.
All laden out there. If you see where the doors are.
Yeah. So this was a quick story. I was in college. I was taking a photography class, part of the art major. The assignment for the class, one of the projects was you had to photograph a place in like multiple series of photographs and sort of show a portrait of a location was the idea. I chose the Javits Center because, one, it's a cool place. It's a very cool building architecturally, blah, blah, blah. The real reason I chose it was because turns out if you go there on some random Tuesday when there's no event or anything going on, there's also no security. So, which, isn't smart. I don't advise they continue that practice, but it works good for a young kid who knows, hey, in a couple months when New York Comic Con comes around, I can just, while the Javits Center is, open for the day, I can go through all those mazes of backdoor tunnels.
I just want to warn you.
Learn the layout.
I want to warn you. I can get over like 1,600 views on this.
Okay, fair enough.
Stream, so.
Listen, I get what you're saying. But how I use the information was the year before the first Avengers came out. I follow. They have their big panel, the big press conference. I go to I follow along where I know the panels and the press conference and everything is. Walk through the right back door, pop out. There's a crowd. The entire cast of the Avengers is there. Not Robert Downey Jr. He wasn't there. But so there's a crowd of people in press doing interviews. I sidle up to he's working for Marvel now. I won't say his name. Sidle up to this guy who's working for Marvel now. He sort of gives me a look like, okay, you don't belong, clearly. I come clean. I go, listen, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to do anything. I just want to be here and hang out. I just happen to walk through the right back door. I won't make a fuss. You won't even know I'm here. He goes, okay, fine.
Oh, wow.
The whole round table of the entire cast, I got it. As close as you would have a conversation. Again, not Robert Downey Jr. and this was a big disappointment, not Scarlett Johansson. She wasn't there. But, as close as you would be in conversation to, Chris Evans, who's the guy that played the Hulk, Mark Ruffalo, Jeremy Renner, Loki, the guy who played Loki, all real cool, and just got to sit and hang out for, a couple hours while they did, just this sort of, they're sort of like on a turnstile of stopping off at each interview place.
That's cool. Did you eat shawarma?
Yeah, it was before the movie came out. It was before it even came out.
Cool.
They were doing promotional for it. So yeah, I couldn't drop in a, reference or something like that. But yeah, there's a bunch just about every year in Artist Alley, New York Comic Con, just about every year when Jim Lee would have a table in Artist Alley, he was never there. He's too big of a name to, just sit up at a table in Artist Alley. However, the last 10, 15 minutes of the convention, he goes down to his table to, get the numbers and see how much money he made and whatnot when everyone is cleared out. So the last 10 and 15 minutes of the show, you go right down to Jim Lee's table. I got the whole multi-covers of the first X-Men all signed by him, free of charge.
Nice.
Tons of books signed by him, no line, no paying. He's just standing there hanging out. So, and you know, I could go on and on, but there's a whole bunch of stories like that of New York Comic Con where that you know, it's a special place.
That's cool.
Yeah.
By the way, Keith wanted to ask you, are you a fan of Transformers, the animated series? Are you talking about the one that's on Netflix now? That was pretty good.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not sure which one he's talking about. I got to be honest. Never got into Transformers.
Okay.
Yeah, just something about that and GI Joe. Just for whatever reason, didn't grab me.
Keith, are you wondering like if he could do a Transformers for you? He doesn't have. I'll just let you know he'll probably still knock that out of the park, or a Sunfire for you. Oh, the old series, the original series. Yeah, he's not. He wasn't into it.
Yeah, I think in my generation, not a lot of people, even like
you just missed it. That's why.
Yeah, it was just after it peaked, but also just before it sort of rose back up in popularity. Yeah, my generation missed out on
yours was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, X-Men, Spider-Man, Gargoyles.
Exactly. Yeah, Gargoyles, huge fan. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, you know, it was.
See, I'm lucky though. I got to be a part of both those generations.
That's cool.
Yeah, Saturday mornings were awesome for many years.
Oh yeah,
I missed those. Your bowl of cereal. It was the one time you wanted to get up early.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we still had Saturday morning cartoons, but yeah, it was different. What I do want to check out, I don't know if you've seen it. I heard it's really good. The new Animaniacs on Hulu.
Someone told me it was really good.
I'm looking forward to it because that was one of my favorites. Very very subliminal adult humor that they would sneak in, which you know you can only appreciate you know as an adult now later. But I heard the new series is very good.
I heard that too. Do you remember Freakazoid?
Yes.
That was what's his name? Steven Spielberg did
Was
Freakazoid.
it really?
Yeah.
Like lightning bolt kind of hair?
Yeah, and he had the pale white face.
Yeah, with like a red outfit or
Yeah. He was a really wonky, crazy character.
Yeah, I do kind of nothing specific, but I know the name. It comes to mind. Yeah.
We're gonna wrap up shortly. This has been awesome. Veer, by the way, it's my phone said that you left a bunch of messages in the chat, but they're not popping up in my chat for some reason. So I don't know why, but I'm not seeing what you're writing, Veer. But it did alert me that you sent some messages. It's weird. Sometimes messages don't come through to the chat for us. I don't know why. So anybody that didn't get responded to, forgive me. That's probably what happened because I try to respond to everybody as much as possible. I also want to remind everybody, we're going to wrap this up in a few minutes. Throw out some questions. I know it's hard to draw and talk at the same time. So you're going to get an awesome Daredevil fully painted piece with the best questions. So ask away, guys. I mean, you got a few minutes left. I mean, Dell and Chris asked some questions. I don't know if they're still with us, but other than that, we really haven't had many questions. So ask away.
Yeah, definitely. The plan for this one is I still got a lot of work to do. I just started inking it, but the plan for this one is I don't know if you know the famous Alex Ross piece of Batman looking over his shoulder or looking over his back with all the scars and everything.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So I sort of similar theme to that with sort of the brushwork that'll within this sort of bar I set up here. Reveal the piece, and then the what would you call them? Sonar circles, the circles that are always around Daredevil's head.
Yeah, his sonar. Yeah,
will be popping out. That's the plan.
Oh, that's cool. We have two questions. Keith wanted to know what's the hardest person for you to draw or character.
Hardest person or character? Honestly, not. Just because of the design of him, it's a great design. It's classic. Don't get me wrong, but Captain America, all those scales, it can sometimes.
So then Aquaman might be a pain in the ass too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's why the Aquaman is about that big in the painting. But yeah, sort of any. But I at the same time I love Captain America is one of my favorites, and that design, that's probably the number one design that's gone like unchanged that I could think of. That I like that or Superman, although they changed his shield a lot. But yeah, even though it's a great design, all those scales can be a pain in the ass. But yeah, tough character to draw. I don't know. That would anyone that's more detailed, but for the most part, for the most part, once you know the fundamentals, and I mean, I'm still working on it. You're always learning, but once you know the fundamentals, everything that you put on top of it is just window dressing.
Right.
Every character sits on top of the same human skeleton, more or less.
Right. Same anatomy for the most part.
Yeah.
Veer wants to know what's your take on Batman Beyond, because he might be commissioning you.
That's that's another Saturday morning cartoon classic. Love Batman Beyond. I love it because it's a storyline. When you look at Batman Beyond on paper, and you go, okay, so the Batman you know and love. Yeah, he's old now. He's not going to do anything but sit behind a screen and yell at things, but at some new kid who's in the future, who's a new character who you don't know yet. And that's the story. It takes place in the future. He fights all the rogues gallery that he had that you love.
It is a good rogues gallery.
Batman's got the best rogues gallery of all of them. But guess what? Batman Beyond, none of them. All new characters. You look
and they're good.
Paper,
they're good too. Like Ink and all of them.
Yeah, exactly. You look at that story on paper. You're like, who would want to watch this? This is complete garbage. But that cartoon was so phenomenal. One, because again, great. Going back to Nightcrawler, great character design. That black with the red logo, very sleek, very minimal, great character
and
design.
The covered face, just black. Yes.
Yeah. I love Batman Beyond. Great character design, great cartoon, great story. Again, I just always go back to that thought of like, who would ever greenlight this? Like, who would ever think this is a good idea? Because you just look at it on paper, like no one would want to. No,
Batman. Do you know whose character reminds me of? What's the name? Randy. What's the character's name again? Batman Beyond. He reminds me of Kyle Rayner. Actually, like it feels like they used Kyle Rayner as a template for him. Hi, Mike. Michael Warinsky said hello.
How's it going, Mike?
What's the name of the character that's Batman Beyond, the young kid? What's his name again?
Terry McGinnis.
Terry, that's it. I always felt like Terry McGinnis was similar to Kyle Rayner for some reason. There was
kind of see that
there.
Yeah.
He said Veer said his next commission from you is going to be Batman Beyond.
Awesome, man. Thanks. Yeah, huge Batman Beyond fan. Huge. That was a great cartoon. And I think aren't they doing something with
a live action movie? I thought.
Isn't Michael Keaton supposed to play
the old Bruce Wayne?
Yeah. Great idea.
I think it'd be great. It would go over well.
To have it, the original first live action to be to now come back and play that character, a genius idea.
And and with the technology that you can use for Iron Man now, they could pull off Batman Beyond no problem.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they could definitely do that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
So look, it was great having you on. I just want to let everybody know again, here in the bottom, Linktree, Sean Carlson Art. You can go to his Etsy shop, his website. You can buy original art and prints. And like Randy said, his prices are like Crazy Eddie. I know I'm dating myself. They're insane.
I know Crazy Eddie.
Yeah, so I mean, they're really low prices for some beautifully painted art, sketch art, you name it. You could even get commissions. Just keep in mind, Sean is busy for the next 2 months, but after that, he's open for commissions. If you're willing to wait, you can put your commission request in now. Just know that it'll be a couple of months before he gets to it. He's also going to be at the Suffolk Comic Art and Art Expo on March 14th here in Long Island, where you can get a commission from him there live, or you could do, if he's open, he'll probably have pre-commission list for you to pick up at the show, which is always good. And this Daredevil that you can see that looks awesome that he's doing right now is a free giveaway, and it will be painted when it's done.
That's right.
Sean is going to go back and look at all the questions. He's going to pick the winner himself. I am going to go back and look at some questions and pick 2 winners for prints. And then Sean is going to pick the winner of the contest for the name of his splatter style that he wants to use. Just remember, understand that if you win the contest, he has the right to use the name. Okay.
Yes, good idea, good thought.
You're giving him the right and the permission to use that name for his style of art. So remember that. But you will win the contest of some art prints from him. Tomorrow, I'm not sure what time. I'll work it out with Sean. We're gonna have a snowstorm on the East Coast, so people will be home. But we're gonna come back on, Sean and I, briefly to announce the winners, and then those winners will have 48 hours to reach out to Sean about receiving the art. If within 48 hours you don't reach out to him, we will pick the next runner-up as a winner. So please be aware, please follow, please check your messages. So I just want to thank you for coming out, Sean. You are an awesome artist. You're a really cool guy. I'm glad that I had gotten to meet you a few years ago. You've been at my show, and you're an awesome, individual. So you're welcome back anytime. I want to see something creator owned from you, brother. I want to see you. I want to see you really get out there and be the next legend in the industry.
Thank you, man. I'm working on it. That's the plan.
So
thank you.
I'm just gonna say thanks for coming out. Hang out backstage for a minute if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
And everybody, thanks for coming out as usual to watch. I appreciate everybody who's joined the chat. All those who were just watching and stayed quiet, I appreciate that too. Steve Garcia said, thanks, Sean. Great stuff. Steve Garcia is an awesome dude. He did animation storyboarding for The Iron Giant and some other movies. He's an awesome dude, and
no shit. That is one of my favorite movies ever.
Yeah, and listen, he did this little animation piece that he put online. It was a quick few seconds, but it was freaking phenomenal. It was so smooth and beautiful. Wow. And I wanted to pay him to do an animation like that for me for this show, but he unfortunately doesn't have the time to do that. Okay. He's also just another awesome human being that hopes to get on the show someday. Keith cool. Said thanks.
I love the Iron Giant.
Oh man, at the end when he goes Superman,
I cry it's a guaranteed. I will cry every time. One of my favorite, not just animated, favorite movies period ever.
And the best is that they did not cheapen it by making some stupid sequel.
Yes. I agree.
It ended, leave it. It was perfect. Leave it.
I agree 100%. Perfect ending because spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen spoilers. Perfect ending because he reconstitutes himself.
Right. You see the leg.
So he can live. He lives on. But again, it's a one and done perfect movie, and they just left it. Yeah, I agree.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That piece is starting to look really good too. Now that we can see it,
it's coming along. Like I said, going to do sort of, in the Daredevil quasi-Japanese kind of influence that he has, a sort of a brushy kind of stroke here that reveals the thing. But it'll look more fleshed out in a couple hours probably.
And just remember, whoever wins the art, he has to take time to finish it. It's going to take, it's not done. So just be patient with him when it's being sent out.
Will be worth it.
I hope. Yeah. Oh, it'll be worth it. Sean, it was good having you out, man. Is there anything you want to plug or tell us before you go?
No, good being here, man. Thanks so much for having me on. It's been a fun time. Just the link tree has got all my links on it. Sean Carlson Art on Instagram, and Sean Carlson Art, the website. I got everything up on there. And thanks again. Hope to do it again sometime.
Awesome. I will be talking to you obviously tomorrow, so I'll wish you a happy holidays and Merry Christmas and all that then. But
same here. Sounds good.
Thanks for coming out and hang out backstage. And I'm going to say my see-yous to everybody. Thanks, man.
Bye, guys. Thanks again.
So that was Sean Carlson. If you didn't know him, now you know him. Go follow him on Instagram, please. Sean Carlson Art. Follow him on Facebook. You will find him on Instagram more often than Facebook. I'm talking to him about increasing his Facebook exposure. But as you can see, he's a busy man. He gets work because he's very talented. Good night, John. Thanks for coming out. To everybody that comes out, who has come out tonight, thank you so much. To everybody that watches the show, thank you so much. To everybody that's at every show faithfully, Steve Garcia, Keith Brunswick, Heather comes out, John Ottinger, you all come out faithfully. God bless you. Thank you so much for the support, not just of me in the show, but obviously for what it's really about is the guests that I have on the show and the exposure that we give them. We definitely need to support artists like Sean. You're giving your money to good people that are also giving you great work. So that's a double whammy there. So thanks again to Sean. Now, ironically, Sean sat next to Luke Ross at my show, and Luke Ross happens to be my guest on Friday. If you don't know Luke Ross, he's a Brazilian artist. He's worked on a lot of things. He's done Conan, he's done Star Wars, and he's a really talented artist and a wonderful human being. He's another great guy in the industry that I had the great pleasure of meeting and befriending when he came to my show. Really down-to-earth guy. It's going to be a fun conversation, some great art. So I thought that was funny. I didn't even intentionally. It just worked out that way that they were table buddies and now they're Q&A buddies for the week. So come on out Friday. I believe it's 10 p.m. I'll double check, but you know me. I'll be posting with Luke Ross. Again, if you ever want to watch any back episodes, including this one with Sean Carlson, go to YouTube. It's Creatorcon event. I have a link tree as well, Creatorcon event, and you can go find those past episodes. March 14th, They Can't Keep Us Down, Suffolk Comic and Art Expo. Sean Carlson will be there. Scott Hanna will be there. Billy Tucci will be there. Larry Stroman will be there. Keith Williams will be there. If things go right, Sean Chen will be there. Mike Lilly will be there if things are good with COVID, etc. It's going to be a killer line, and Ron Wilson might be there. So we're going to have a killer lineup of people and great local talent like Sean as well. So March 14th, you put it on your calendars. You tell everybody because we need to show them that we cannot be kept down. We got a show coming. Let's have some fun, people. God bless you. I love you. Thank you for being out here. Have a great night. Enjoy the rest of the week. See you Friday. And the last thing I'm going to tell you is what I always tell you. Be legendary and have fun storming the castle.